Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Derek. Appreciate it. Tasha's, you'll hear from her in a second. So anyway, but hey, it's good to be here this morning. Everybody doing all right?
Yeah.
Good, good. Well, hey, we're excited about being here. And rested, we got 3 little kiddos. So getting a little break from them is always nice. Let me do this real quick so I don't have to turn this off all the time. All this technology gets to me sometimes. All right. So anyway, who in here is fairly new in business? Fairly new? Some of y'all been in business a while?
One day, man.
One day. I'd say that's real new. I'd say that's real new. So, well, that's awesome. I think we're going to have some relevant stuff whether you're brand new, 1 day old, or been in 13 years like me, or 40 years. I don't think anybody's been in business 40 years. Primerica hasn't been around that long, so maybe A.L. Williams, right? But anyway, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, kind of how we got in the business, so y'all can kind of relate to that. Maybe similar to some of y'all, maybe different. And then Tosha, my wife, my better half, who you'll see in a second, she'll kind of go through some stuff with her story and talk more about some bullet points and stuff. And then I'm going to come back up and kind of give you some more meat and stuff. First off, I was pretty much born and raised in Texas, so I'm a Texan. Even though I went to the great Southern Miss, University of Southern Miss, played football out there. I grew up in Brenham. Y'all probably know where Brenham is, out towards Houston College Station. Bluebell, eat all we can, sell the rest. Right? That's why we're about 245, even after football. But born and raised in Brenham. Mom was a school teacher. My dad worked for the state. And so middle class family. I was playing sports growing up. All I wanted to do was play college football somewhere. So it wasn't super big. And so out of high school, actually, since I played baseball too, I wasn't able to really get a lot of looks. I wanted to play Division I. So what I did, out of high school, I walked on at Baylor. Went up to Baylor up in Waco. Walked on there, made the team. That's back when they were no good. Now I probably wouldn't even make the team because they're like really good now. But anyway, made the team, stayed there about 1.5 years, but didn't earn a scholarship. And so my mom being a teacher, we couldn't afford Baylor. It's expensive, very expensive. And so I ended up transferring after 3 semesters. I transferred to Blinn Junior College, where Cam, some of y'all heard of Cam Newton. That's where he played. I played much before him. But we actually did really well. We had a lot of great athletes on the team. Several of them went on to play in the league. But we won a national championship in junior college. And so we had a lot of colleges looking at our team. And so I got recruited by Southern Miss. And the previous, I played center, offensive line is what I played. And so the previous center was a Blinn guy, so it was kind of a neat connection. So I ended up going on a scholarship to Southern Miss and got out to Mississippi. I never heard of Southern Miss until they started sending me letters. I was like, what is Southern Miss? And that's right when Brett Favre was getting kind of famous, and so folks started going, oh, Brett Favre was a Southern Miss. And so anyway, so I had to kind of, I wasn't super big, so for my size, for a D1 school to be recruiting me, I had a few offers, but when I took a visit, and I went to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, it just felt like that's where God wanted me to go. And so ended up going on a scholarship there. My first semester I met Tosha, and so she didn't want to have anything to do with me because I was a football player. And so that was a funny story. We don't have time for that whole story. Anyway, but how I first got introduced to this business was as a client. So my first semester, I got out there, I think I was in Hattiesburg 2 months at the most. And I got some money from my granddad, and I had no clue about money. My parents had a little passbook savings account for me where I put in a little bit of money from Christmas. And I remember that little orange, I think it was orange, little booklet, and you go in there and write 10 cents that it made in that year. Now that would be like 1 cent. That's because they were paying 3% back then, but it's like 1 cent now. But anyway, so that's all I knew about money. So I got some money from my granddad, and I was like, I don't want to be stupid with this. I'd never seen a check that big. It was for $10,000. And for me, middle income, hey, that's a lot of money. So I was like, whoa, I could be very stupid with that, or I could invest. I wanted to invest it. I'd heard of investing. I didn't know what that was. But my roommate, who I was talking to, knew my situation. I was like, hey, Jeremy, do you know anybody who does financial stuff? He's like, actually, and this is what's so crazy, is that my girlfriend, this is what he said, Jeremy said, my girlfriend just started working with this guy, just kind of as a part-time secretary named Mike Landrum, and he played football at Southern Miss and played for the Atlanta Falcons. And I said, I think he does money stuff. You should go talk to him. I'm like, all I heard was he played for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm a college football player would love to have gone to the NFL, wasn't quite big enough, but I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I'd love to go meet this ex-pro guy. And if he can teach me some stuff about money, great. And so I went and met Mike for the first time as a junior in college. I was 21 years old, and I was going to invest probably $7 grand or $8 grand, I think is what it was, with him because I wanted to keep a little cushion. But so I met Mike, and I'm going into his office thinking he's going to be behind this big mahogany desk. He's going to be in a three-piece suit. He's going to talk way over my head, and he's going to deal with big investment funds. And, you know, my $7 grand I was going to invest with him, I thought that was a lot of money to me, right? Yeah. But I thought that was probably chump change to what his usual client was. So when I met him, he taught me the Rule of 72, which I still will not forget that today. It was we're used to this. Ours is a little older now. We got a 9-year-old, 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old. So I know that. But anyway, so getting back to Mike, he taught me the Rule of 72. It was the example of $2,000, 3, 6, and 12%. That $2,000 at 12% after 48 years was $512,000. Yeah. Okay, so I remember it because that blew my mind. That $2 grand in the right investment vehicle would be $500,000. Yeah. And I could not fathom that. And I'm going sitting there calculating, being 21. I'm like, okay, I'm probably gonna invest $7 grand. So I was trying to do the math in my head. It's like 4 times that. I was like, whoa, this is gonna be pretty cool, you know. And so I ended up becoming a client of his like the next week. I wrote him a check, and so I was a happy client. And I really didn't know much else about Primerica, but I liked meeting Mike. He was a good dude. I saw integrity. I saw that he said, look, Frank, I don't care if you're investing $25 a month with me or $250,000, I'm going to treat you the same way. I thought that was really cool. Coming from where I come from, it's town 10,000. You know, I didn't know anybody with money like that. And so I thought that was awesome. So I was a very happy client. I was a junior in college, fighting for a starting job, coming in because coming in from junior college, I hadn't played a season yet, so I'm working my tail off in the weight room, trying to get to where I can start. And sure enough, that first year, I started as a center for 2 years there. But my point is, Mike didn't try to recruit me right then. He knew I was busy in school, football. I had a ton of stuff going on. But what he did is he built a relationship with me. He said, hey, why don't you come on out? And I think Tosha and I just started dating. He said, why don't you come out, bring your girlfriend? We'd love to have you over for dinner. Let you meet my kids. So we went to his house, broke bread with him, built a relationship, and I just thought that was awesome. I was like, here's a guy showing interest in me. We're about to play Alabama. He sends me a little note, hey, good luck in your game this weekend. And so stuff like that, I was like, this guy's cool, you know? And so he just started building a relationship with me. And so after a couple times, about a year, it was almost exactly a year to the date when I first became that client. It was 97, okay? Now, y'all remember the stock market in 1997, 1998? It was like this, okay? It was sweet, right? It was awesome. You could just pick any mutual fund, it did like 50% one year. Okay? A little different now, okay? A little different now. But so I saw my money just start blowing up, and I was like, man, this is awesome. I got to get in this financial business. And so about a year later, I'm like, I like seeing my account grow. And so I started asking Mike more questions. Hey, Mike, tell me more about Primerica. Right? Ever have that? I had somebody tell me, he's been a client for like 2 years, called it Primerica the other day. He's like, what? And so you got to slap him around sometimes. It's Primerica, okay? Anyway, so Mike started telling me more about the business side of the company, and I really started getting excited. He said, look, Frank, I know you're finishing your senior year, and I did well in school. I wasn't one of those guys that failed a bunch of stuff. I was a top banking and finance student in Mississippi, and so I won some awards and stuff like that. Not trying to brag on me, but I could have gone a lot of places. I had bankers trying to get me to go work for their bank. I was majoring in banking and finance because Rod, a guy he knows, Rod and I had an MIS class together with McGruger. He reminded me, you remember that guy? One of the professors. I couldn't remember his name, but Rod remembered it. And so I had an MIS. I was thinking, oh yeah, technology, computer stuff. That'd be a good field to go into. I take this MIS class my first semester at Southern Miss, and I'm like, all right, let me go the other direction. That's not for me. And so I was going to be like a double major MIS in banking and finance, because when I started learning about money, I was like, that's kind of cool. And so then I had that one class. I was like, all right, let's just focus there. And so that's how I got into banking and finance. I had no clue what that entailed, but it sounded good, right? And so, but here I was, about 6 months from graduating, going, what the heck am I going to do with my life? By that time, my mom, she had taught Spanish. Some of you are probably bilingual. Don't be asking me a bunch of questions in Spanish. My mom taught Spanish for 20 years, and I'm not fluent, okay? I can understand un poquito, all right? Very little. But she taught Spanish forever. Went back, got her master's, became an assistant principal and a principal. And I remember calling home from Hattiesburg, and then at 9 o'clock at night, and my dad answered the phone. I was like, man, Mom's back up at school, and she worked her tail off being a principal at Brenham Elementary School for 50 grand a year. You know, her 30th year in business, or not in business, 30th year in teaching, in administration, making 50 grand a year. I'm like, she is working a ton of hours. She is not getting paid what she's worth. And so I had that in the back of my mind. And then also a situation that happened with my dad. He worked for the state, and he got an incentive with this early retirement. And basically they said, hey, take this early retirement package. He was probably 55 at this time. And then we're going to rehire you back to be able to get your pension, and you can be able to do this. And so I was like, oh, he said, okay, sounds great. Well, he takes the early retirement, guess what happens? They don't hire him back. I've heard that before, right? And so here he is, 55 years old. It's not like the town of San Antonio. It's Brenham, okay? Nobody's going to hire somebody 55 years old that's got, you know, lots of experience. Then when they hire somebody that's 30, they pay him half the money, in Brenham especially, okay? Because it's 10, 15,000 population max. So I remember this, he was looking for a job, I think a year, and finally found something, right? And so I saw all these things going on, and I've said, you know what, as I started meeting Mike and seeing kind of what he did and the freedom he had, and I was like, you know what, nobody in my family's ever been a business owner, but man, tell me more about being an entrepreneur. Because man, it seems like you love what you do, you got freedom, you make good money, but more importantly, that's he loved what he was doing, and he was making an impact, and I loved what he taught me. I thought he made a big impact with me personally. So when I had all that stuff going, I got my helper up here. He's going to help me with my presentation. That's cool. But so I started asking more questions, and as I showed more interest, and now here I'm a senior, right? Trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And Mike started recruiting me when the timing was right, right? So then he said, Frank, why don't you come in here and kind of treat this like an internship, see if you like it. Right out of Southern Miss, I was not even graduated yet. He said, come get certified with me. If you like it, great. You run with it once you graduate. If you don't like it, you can stay part-time. It don't matter to me. I was like, what do I got to lose, right? This is the May of 1998, okay? Wow. So I got life license in June. I was working my tail off in the summer, getting ready for a season coming up. I was set to graduate December of 98, and what was cool is because I transferred, started at Baylor, went to Blinn, finished at Southern Miss. That's not what I advise when somebody's wanting to go to college, okay? You lose like 30 hours, okay? I think I took an extra year of school, but thank God the second two schools were paid for. And so, but I'd done some summer school to get myself to where I could graduate once I was done with football. So sure enough, I had 2 classes my last semester. I majored in football that last semester. It was awesome. I had 2 classes, and I was at the field house all the time watching film, but what that also gave me a chance to do, because I had just gotten life license, I came to every Monday morning. I plugged in some of Mike's base shop office meetings, and I started getting around the environment. You know what I saw? I saw a fun environment. It wasn't some corporate America job. It was something where I saw people having fun. They were competitive. Being an athlete, I was like, I wanted to find something I could compete in. I saw trophies and plaques, and I saw these big rings. I was like, what is this place, right? And so I started getting excited about checking out the business more in detail. I was already a life license, right? And so now Mike's like, hey, this is something I'm talking about in the next area that I'm in. Hey, buddy, you all right? Watch your head now. But you know, so I was just coachable. What Mike said, he'd do this, I did it. So here I am, because they had time on my side. He's like, Frank, let's go ahead and knock out that securities license. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And so what I got to do, here's a couple books. I borrowed some books from a guy. 2 weeks later, took my 6 and 63 the same day. I was in study mode in school. It was in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Not much to do. I was dating Tosha, so I was like, we did some stuff. We didn't have much money, so we're just kind of, she was playing volleyball, I was playing football. We never saw each other in the fall, really, that much. And so I studied. And so, sure enough, on my birthday, October 15th, 1998, I drove to Jackson, about an hour and a half away, took my 6, took about a 20-minute break, took my 63, passed them both, and then I drove back down because I had to hustle back for practice. And so, that's all I knew. It was funny. So, but I got both licenses while I was in school. And then I saw more. Now, did I use those licenses? No, I didn't do anything. Looking back, I wish I'd have gone on more appointments as I was brand new. But at least I showed up to some meetings. I saw the environment. I saw from my personal background with my parents and stuff like that, corporate America wasn't really what I was looking for. I wanted to find something I had more control in, where I could stay with one company. I had a lot of friends that got a good job at Pfizer, pharmaceutical sales, whatever. And then they had to move across the country because they were phasing out that position. They had to move. And I was like, no, I don't want really somebody dictating where I have to live and all this kind of stuff. I want freedom. And so I started getting a taste of that with when I met Mike and kind of seeing the business. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm good enough for this, for Primerica, but I like what I see so far. I'm going to give it a shot. And I had confidence in myself because I had walked on, fought through the ranks, started as an undersized offensive lineman, really. And so I had confidence that if I put my mind to something, I could win, I could do something, but I had no confidence in Primerica. But I saw a credible leader, Mike Landrum, who was already making $350 back then. And to me, I was all the money in the world. I was like, man, if it took me, 10 years to make half of that, that'd be pretty good money, right? Now he's going over 700,000. He's like at 750, crazy, and a ton of 100,000, right? Yeah. We got no excuses in San Antonio and Austin. We got to go to work, right? And so, I saw Mike. I liked the way he ran his business. He wasn't some super salesman. He wasn't just this insurance guy. He had a well-balanced business. I was like, I like that. And so I wanted to duplicate that system. And so I came into business. I graduated. This is crazy. So had my licenses. December 17th, I believe, 1998. Walked the stage. Graduated. Had 2 more weeks of football because we played in a bowl game. Played my last football game, December 31st, something like that. And then 2 days later, I was in Mike's office like, okay, now what, Mike? I was full time. I was single. We had just gotten engaged that fall. But, so we were going to get married in June, but I was single, living in an apartment. Rent in Hattiesburg is pretty cheap. I think I was splitting with my roommate who played golf. I paid $200 for my half of the rent, right, for a 2-bedroom apartment. That's crazy. And so I had low expenses, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this thing a shot. So I started running, and I started working in Mike's office, and I really messed up a lot of things. I wasn't super successful. I wasn't from there, so I didn't have a warm market, so I had to kind of start learning and getting better. And so that first year I only made about $13,000. But, I really worked part-time, even though I was full-time, right? In our office, we say you can be full-time, F-U-L-L, or you can be full-time, F-O-O-L, right? You're fooling yourself, right? You're fooling yourself if you're full-time. But anyway, so we'll talk more about that later, okay, as far as activity. But anyway, so I was fooling myself. I was full-time, but I saw enough. And I had 1 month, I hit a decent little investment, did some production. I made about $2,500 for a 23-year-old college kid coming out of college. Almost $2,500 in 1 month. That's pretty good. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can do this. But then I never missed a meeting. That was the big thing, is I never missed a training. I never missed a NOT meeting. I never missed a Monday morning leadership meeting. I was at everything. Why? Because I knew, hey, look, in sports, in football, if you don't show up for practice, do you get to play? No. So I was used to showing up. And so I showed up to everything. Even though I wasn't going on a ton of appointments, I showed up to everything, and I got better. Because I saw Brian Todd, who got in the green jacket, and he had I think he had a ministry degree. He was like doing ministry stuff as a youth minister before Primerica. But I saw 1 month he made 10 grand. Yeah. And I'm coming in going, as a regional, he was a regional leader. If that regional leader can make 10 grand, why can't I go make 10 grand? So I saw the belief. I saw, okay, I'm not having the activity I need to do that kind of business, but I can do this. And so it kept on having me try, and went to big events and stuff like that. And then slowly but surely got better. When we got married, I was on honeymoon. We only went for like a week honeymoon, but that whole month I was on honeymoon, right? Because I did like 1 app the whole month, and so it was terrible. But anyway, you're not going to make it when you make $298, okay, in a month when you're full time, right? So I had to change a lot. I had to get better. But sure enough, we went to a big event. That's how important big events are. About a year and a half in business, not quite a year and a half, about a year in business. Tosha, she'll tell you more about her story playing volleyball. We convinced her to quit when she got done with volleyball, jump in full-time too. This is all we've done since college. And she'll tell you more about her background there. But we went to a big event, and we just really said, you know what, we're tired of wasting our time at regional leader. It's not a waste, you know what I'm saying, but we want to go to RVP. And so we put together a game plan of getting our recruiting numbers up and really kind of doing some stuff. And sure enough, 4 months later, we were VPs in Mississippi. And then we got promoted RVP August 2000. And then we said, you know what, we like Hattiesburg, but we want to stay here. Tasha's from Oregon, and so I'm from Texas. And I was like, you know, there's no way in heck she's going to move to Texas unless I take her to the Oasis. Anybody been through the Oasis in Austin? Yeah. It's a real nice, overlooking Lake Travis. It's kind of like if you went like out where the big hills are, foothills, like, you know, just north of here, a little bit or west of here. And so it's real pretty. And I was like, let me take her here. And so, because I've been coached on sales with my so I'm coachable, right? So he was coaching me. I was not a very good salesman, but I took her to the best place I knew in Austin. So sure enough, we were visiting my brother. she's like, this is Texas? I'm like, yeah, see how beautiful Texas is? So this is crazy. Now looking back, did say hindsight's 20/20?
Always.
Always, okay? And you know what? I think it's a good thing we kind of just jumped, but looking back, we would have definitely made some different decisions, okay? But I was 24, Tasha was 22, we just got promoted to RVP, we did it, I'd been in business full-time a year and a half. Now I was licensed in college, but really started working January 1999. From that day, August 2000, that's about 18 months, we were VPs. And then we said, you know what, let's get out of here. 2-3 months later, October is when we bought a house in Cedar Park up in Austin. Bought a house, opened our first office a couple months later, and I was 25, she was 23 because we just turned those birthdays. And here we are with an office, a house, both full-time in business, and we're like, let's go, you know? We had confidence because the base shop we came out of, back then, Mike Landon was running number 4 office, number 4 base shop in the whole company, okay? Out of 4,000 VPs, he was number top 5. And it would be like 4 in premium, 7 in securities. Back then they tracked F&As and loans, all kind of stuff, and he was just across the board. We had a rockin' base shop, a rockin' office. So your environment that you create is what you expect, right? And so we came out to Austin going, okay, let's do this. And so the first year I knew one person. Both of us knew one person, my brother, who's real introverted, and he'd rather just be out there hunting and fishing instead of talking to anybody, okay? So he wasn't very helpful, that's what I'm saying. He sent me a referral finally like 6 months later. Now he was a client, he's still a client today, we just did some stuff with him a month ago, so he's supportive, but he ain't gonna do the business with me, right? And so he sent me one referral 6 months later, so we had to go get to work and meet some people and prospect and just go out there and market our business, and that's what Tasha's gonna talk about in a second. But so we did that. So the first year in Austin, we made $75,000. Now we're both full time, right? And so Tasha was, she's had many roles, and she'll tell you about that. You know, she goes to her store, but she's licensed. She's licensed in the business, and so back in Mississippi, she field trained with me. She field trained people. I field trained people. When we came to Austin, she kind of took over the office and ran the office for us. She's had many roles. Now we got 3 kids, and those of y'all have children, you know how busy that makes you, right? But she's still supportive of the business, helps out with stuff like this, does trainings and meetings. But the first year made 75 grand, second year made 85 grand, third year in Texas made 130. And we've now made less than 100,000 since then. That was 2003 when our oldest was born. And really the last, since we had Zach, who's our little guy, who's 4, he just turned 4 last month. I have not been super engaged in the business. I've been working the business, but probably, I mean, really 30 hours a week if you really look at my numbers and what I'm doing. So I've kind of put it on cruise control. And really the last 3 years, we've made over $600,000 the last 3 years. We're averaging 200 grand a year. And that's okay. I mean, in Primerica standards, that's nothing. But what I mean, you see some of the leaders in Primerica going off, right? But I say that not to boast about us. I say that to tell you, this business works. If you work the business, I mean, you make money. I'm gonna talk more about that in my second session. I talk about with activity and how to do that and what we've done. But man, I'm excited. I'm excited about Texas, putting our name back on the map. There's some good things happening up in Dallas. I just started a little base shop up in Dallas, got some licensed people up there. And so down here in San Antonio, we got a lot of friends in business down here. I mean, especially with San Antonio and Austin being so close, there's no reason we can't really synergize this area and go take Primerica back where it was back in the old days, in the 80s when Texas, I mean, we were big in Primerica. Now California kind of took that over.